Welcome to Discover Joyous Love with Anita DeFrancesco as your host. This is a hybrid of topics under the subjects of mindfulness, sexuality, and relationships. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Discover Joyous Love. I am your host, Anita DeFrancesco. And today we have, of course, someone visiting us from London, a very special guest. And this is Clare Anyiam-Osigwe. And we're going to be discussing her book today entitled Clarity. So it's a wonderful book that we all need clarity in our lives. And one thing that this book is, it's more than a memoir. It's a movement and a conversation, a call to come home to yourself. So it's not a book that you just, read and put aside. It's something that you will develop some empowerment skills after reading this book. It's wonderful. I've read it. So let me introduce my guest today, Clare Anyiam-Osigwe, who is originally from Nigeria, but lives in London and has a beautiful British accent, as we'll hear in a moment. She has many, many accolades here. So one, she's a winner of Power of Women in Film Award. She's an author, one-time author, Clare, or how many books have you read?
It's my first book, Anita.
This is her first book. She is a recipient of the British Empire Medal, Rising Star Entrepreneur Award winner, another award winner, Rising Star Entrepreneur, Inspirational Woman, an award winner for that. Another award winner, Precious Entrepreneur of the Year. And I'll give you one or two more. Award winner, Personal Achievement of the Year. And one to watch, Management Today's 35 Women Under 35. And an award winner for Best Makeup Artist of the Year. And I understand you're doing a movie of sorts, I was reading in here. So yes, we'll talk about that. Mm-hmm. But yes, so welcome, Clare. How are you?
Thank you, Anita.
The stage is yours now. The stage is yours.
Oh, you're so kind. Well, look, thank you so much for welcoming me onto your platform, first and foremost. When I was looking up all the different podcasts and I saw yours, I was like, that is just a bit of me. From the title to the things that you discuss with your guests, I'm so grateful. So thank you so much. I was born and raised in London. So my parents are Nigerian.
Okay.
I'm what they call or classify Black British, so first generation British Nigerian. So my parents came here in the late 70s. And we've, been here just under 50 years now. So I turned 40 in July. And I wrote Clarity when I was pregnant at 35 with my second daughter. And her and her sister Lavender bring me so much joy. And what I really realized is that at that kind of middle passage of 35, a lot of things were changing in my life. I was, going from a first time to second time mom. I had quite a tumultuous childhood myself. And all of these things that I had successfully packed to the back of my mind started coming forward to the forefront of my mind. And I realized I needed to stop, slow down, and actually deal with some of the things that I had undergone as a child in order to be a great mother, an even better wife, but most importantly, to be a phenomenal woman, like to really embody that. It's something that I've always, exuded, but in many ways at times I felt a little bit like an imposter because I knew I needed to heal from certain things to really take off and be seen in a way that was truly authentic.
So another thing on your bio, you're a specialist in allergies, from what I understand, a specialist in wellness.
Yes.
So you're an allergist, an author, dermatologist, and a filmmaker.
I am.
And after reading this chapter, I'm curious to know about all of this because it sounds like it comes together, the physical, the emotional, the spiritual.
That's right.
And the thing that the world needs right now is clarity in many areas of their life, not only relationships, but in all areas. So, Dr. Clare, I'm going to address you as Dr. Clare.
Yes.
Dr. Clare Anyiam-Osigwe is here with us again on Discover Joyous Love. And today is June 6th, 2025. And I hail to you from Philadelphia, folks, Gerard Estates. And she is in London. And look at us. We're collaborating. We're forming what we call clarity today.
Yeah.
So tell me about the book. I was reading this chapter here, and I love the way that you say life quadrants.
Yes. I've got my copy. I always bring my copy.
Show your book. Please show the book.
I've got the hard copy. Sorry, this is like...
I can't see it. Where is it? Wait a minute. Let me see. Put it up.
Because it's got a white cover, the cream cover.
Oh,
I'll put it in front of me.
Yeah, there you go.
There I am. Yeah. So this is like my awful copy, but I've kept it. It's like the original look. Even the pictures are black and white, right? Because it was just all of my copy edit. But I love referring to that one because it was still a little bit rough. And I made some lovely notes in there. But yes, Clarity, I wrote it 2020... Started it 2020, 2021, finished it last year, and was going to park it. And I was going to just leave it in my Google Drive and maybe like share it with my... And then a lot of women asked me like, Claire, how do you do it? How do you combine being a dermatologist and a scientist and helping people with their allergies and then being like this uber creative and directing film and TV shows? And I was like, you know what? I'm an artist and a scientist. That's the way I see it. Like, I love art and science, right? And so I mixed the two. And that's why I'm kind of like this slight like polymath, but also like completely unboxable. People want to always like, what's that one thing? Or, you know, like, you can't be a jack of all trades. And I think in America, you guys get that because there's that definite entrepreneurial spirit that's bedded into the fiber of America. And sometimes I really wish, like, when my parents were leaving Nigeria, they had gone to America. But in many ways, I'm glad they didn't because of the gun violence and stuff like that. But being Black British, we are kind of like this real unique set of diasporic people who our story hasn't really been sung. We haven't even been here for over 100 years yet. So we are this new breed of like Afrocentric but quintessentially British people. And when you put those two things together, you get this real sense of like, the British way is kind of like, be one thing, be excellent. And, you know, that's who you are forever. But then the African in you is like, sing your song, play your game, have fun. Like, life is about discovery. Life is about color and richness. Right. So it's about really kind of like finding that marriage of personality and therefore execution in personal life and business.
So you tap into tribalism.
Exactly.
You're tapping
ancestry and heritage, you know, which is very rich. You know, I'm Igbo Nigerian. We are Biafran people. The way the Brits came into our country and kind of worked with the Yoruba tribe to destroy Igbo people. That there's a lot of like pain there as well, but there's a huge amount of resilience. I think they even say that 60% of all African slaves that were exported, 60% of them are Igbo because we're physically strong without going to the gym. Like if you looked at my brothers in their heyday of being 20 to 30, they were ripped. They never, ever went to the gym. Ever.
Right. And why is that? Why is the body, the muscle mass so
defined?
Yes. Why is that?
I truly think that we are literally made in the image of God. I know that sounds so extra. And also there is a chapter in Clarity that's for my Christians, but I genuinely feel like that connection with the divine is something that when it's in its purest form, it just cannot help but present itself physically, emotionally, in all areas of life. And so that is the kind of underbelly of Clarity, right? It's about your true self balanced. It's about finding balance in the thing that I call the life quadrant. So you've got 4 areas of life that I've whittled it down to. You can expand it if you want, but I think it really covers it off quite well. And in the short 6 weeks that this book has been out on Amazon and my website, the people that have purchased it and read are reading it now. Like, Claire, every time I have a little bit of a wobbly day, I just look at my life quadrant and you're right. I just noticed that my home life is not together, or my health, my physical health is out of whack, or I haven't prayed today or meditated or journaled, or My finances are a bit, I need to sort that out. It's going to be one of those four things that are causing a bit of chaos. And I think once you reduce the chaos, reduce the noise, and increase the clarity, write down, look at it. I am an analog girl, so I love writing as opposed to typing, having a look at what's going on. I find that the joy increases, the love is flowing, I'm at peace, I feel grateful, I'm more helpful, I moan less, we're less miserable, you know, like, and we let the foolishness of life just slip away. But right. if you have that, I see it as a chair. If one of the legs on that four-legged chair is broken or tilted or bent, you're not going to sit comfortably. That's what clarity offers. That's what the book Clarity offers. It offers you a chance to begin again every day, checking in with yourself, and you can change. Like today, you might want to be a millionaire. Tomorrow, you might be like, do you know what? If I just had $5,000 a month, I'd be financially free. And actually, I wouldn't have to work with those jokers at blah. I could go to the gym. I could eat organic food, or maybe start growing stuff on my balcony, in my garden. Oh, that would make my home really enjoyable and peaceful. Oh, that would mean that I would have more of a social life, because I would meet other maybe farmers and, you know, people that are growing. That could open me up to a whole new world. And so it's like, how can everyday decisions change the course of your life? And don't wait for burnout like I did to discover that. You know, I had a very unhealthy rhetoric that was bestowed onto me in the early days about sleep when you're dead, and that just doesn't work.
How did you get to discover this? How did you adapt what we call the life quadrant? Because most people don't have that categorical way of, you know, separating the brain, dormant areas of your brain and your body brain. They don't have that way of understanding that consciousness of how do we adapt life quadrants? Where do I begin? You know, it takes some discipline. It takes some courage and confidence. So really, I know you had a lot of experiences that you compelling, and maybe you could tell me, like, give people, how do they begin with this, and maybe tell me about some experience.
Yeah, sure. So I start the book from the beginning. I share my childhood, how difficult that was for my mum and dad, just witnessing their marriage and the breakdown of that, which led to my dad leaving the family home, leaving my mum with 5 young children between the ages of 0 and 10 to raise by herself. She's in a foreign country. And I think it's really watching my mum and saying to myself, quite sadly, from a young age, I really hope my life turns out differently from her. I could see her pain. I could see her lack of capacity to have clarity. This bill's coming in. The guy, you know, the man that I've like been courting for 10 years and now married and moved to England and made that passage to come here and start this beautiful new life, and it's not working out for us. The shame of sending money back home, pretending that everything's great, this sort of like taboo of don't complain, you know, like you're in England. England is like the land of milk and honey, right? Like a bit like the American dream. So it's like if you're indigenous or you're coming from what they term a third world country, you're supposed to be grateful. Like you've made it. You moved from Africa like to a better place, right? So she couldn't really share her song or her story with her friends, her family back home. And then let's face it, Anita, you know, this is 1980s, and the UK was much like America in the civil rights movement. There was racism, there was discrimination. So being black, being female, being anything other, you were going to stand out. And so I had to fight. I had to fight verbally. I had to fight physically. I had to fight mentally to really believe in myself and see that actually I can finish school. I can go to university. No one in my family's ever done any of the things that I've done. So I didn't have that in-house role model. And I think when you grow up like that, people call it a chip on the shoulder. But I think it just gives you a kind of determination, because you know what the other side looks like. You know, you can die early. You can just become a single parent and perpetuate that stereotype. You can A lot of people that I grew up in the children's homes and care homes with, because my dad died and there was no other family members to look after us once my mum's mental health turned from bad to worse. We moved, me and my two younger sisters, we moved into children's homes and foster care. And so there we were met with this additional fight in the quadrant of being your.
Yeah.
That's massively challenging. I'm not getting to eat all the lovely indigenous foods that my mum would cook. No one's there to like braid my hair and maintain my image. There's no like maternal love, even the little that my mum had left at the end of a day to give us. There's no one there sort of bigging you up and laughing and playing with you. You've got to kind of grow up quite quickly. And I think that's what you can see in my accolades. You can see somebody who was like, education and achievement is your way out. If you don't achieve, if you don't get an education, you are finished. And there's so many people that would be like so happy for you to like not be winning, not be doing well. It's easy to lose, right? It's so hard to be a winner in this life, in the sense of, like you're saying to me, original question of what was that mindset that led to this? And it's like, do you know what? I love a challenge and I hate doing things that are easy. If it's difficult, that's really attractive to me. I don't know why, but it's maybe just the way I'm wired. If I see a problem, I want to solve it. And that's why I think I specialized as an allergist, because to be a general practitioner, a GP is like, oh yeah, just swallow a tablet and get out of my office. But being an allergist, you're like, no, actually, I need to come to your house. I need to see how you eat. I need to see like your, I need to see your clothes. It's very detailed.
Yeah.
Very tailor-made, like it's very bespoke. And I love bespoke because I recognize from an early age, everybody, even if you are literally identical twins, you are different. You have a different blueprint, you have a different, and you think differently, you move differently. Even if you are born and raised in the same house and you are twins, there is stuff about you that makes you singular and unique. So everyone has their own unique biochemistry, and everybody should be treated as such. Just because you treat one person like, you know, they're nothing and they go, oh, that's fine, doesn't mean you can treat everybody like that and they will all have the same response. Someone might, you know, punch you in the face. Someone might break down and cry. Someone might want to end your life. Like, you can't just treat everybody the same. You have to really look at each individual and work out what is it about them that would make them flourish. And that's all I ever wanted people to do with me, is like, what makes Claire flourish? What makes Claire happy? And therefore, what makes me happy? I had to be that person to answer my own question, right?
So it's, if only we could learn how to support another's successes in life. It sounds like that's the path that you have taken. You maintain a certain thing about yourself, but you want to see other people happy and successful rather than put them down. And if only we could, as a humanness in the world, to be there instead of always hoping that they fell, you know. And it sounds like you rose above that for sure. And you had an awakening or some kind of clarification or something, and maybe not your siblings didn't, or maybe they did, I don't know, but usually it's one or two in the family that comes from the foundation that you were raised in. And you know, where there was that so-called, you know, abuse or what have you, for lack of a better word, you know, some sort of the dysfunction where the dad leaves and the mom is struggling. And you know, you had to have something in you that said, I love myself, I'm worthy.
No, it's true. I mean, I don't think it was any particular moment, but again, to tie it back into clarity, there were definite moments of clarity where it was fight or flight. It was like, I'm either gonna sink, and that would really, I don't like failure. I don't like to lose. I like to win. I like to succeed. So that means get a hold of your health, right? I learned when I was in the children's home, when I was eating a lot of breads and wheats and dairy produce and like really cheap soda drinks, I would feel toxic. I'd lose my voice. I couldn't talk. So I had this really husky voice in my teenage years. People would be like, "What, Claire, why are you so croaky?" And I was like, I actually don't know. And then I would go to the doctors and they'd be like, oh, you know, maybe you got some, you know, food intolerances, but still not really tell you how to resolve that. So I had to really make myself well. In terms of my mindset around loving people, At times, that has definitely been something that has been used against me. Yeah. When I say used against me, I guess, you know, that feeling of like I've given my love over my lifetime to the wrong people. But genuinely, people love back in the only way they know how. So if that love was not reciprocated, or I felt used or betrayed or belittled or any of those things, I just think that is all they had to give, man. You know, before I used to take it as a real diss, like, who do they think they are? Can't they see how loving I am? You're never going to meet anyone like me. And, you know, in many cases, a lot of different like ex-boyfriends or people I've dated or friends that I cherished have come back to me and been deeply apologetic about the ways that they have mishandled me, because you can't treat everyone the same. It's what I said a minute ago. It's like, there are some people that are genuinely, you know, gifts from God or angelic in some way. And it doesn't matter what they have been through. They are not going to match that energy. They are going to love people because that is our authentic nature. We are there to love.
So you let go of the internal argument that the people betrayed you or put you down or didn't accept you, rejection. You let go of that. Some people hang on to that. They ruminate with that. They obsess it and they become that. And it's hard to shake. So they're constantly in a discharging kind of moment. So you transformed that because you had a higher thinking. That's what you had a higher thinking. I like that. You're like me because I had the same thing. I always meet people that are like me in that way. Yeah. And they were able to see something. And when you let go of that stuff, that's just all, really, that's the theater of the mind that we really don't need to be living with, you know, or people might call it the politics of the mind or the theater of the mind or whatever you want to call it, just letting go. So you let go, huh?
I let go. And I mean, you hit the nail on the head. And I mentioned it in Clarity that this mind is like I call it, because of my film and TV background, I call it the big screen in your mind, because there's two forms of realism. There's the real of REAL, realism, like how we see the world, no rose tinted glasses. This is the daily mundane. This is my circumstance. This is where I'm at. And then you've got the realism of now, you know, and if we even think about, say, an Instagram reel, which is the highlights, you know, the things that we did really, really well. Everybody wants to share, you know, their best outfit, or I went to this place, or I had this lovely experience. And actually, the realism of REEL in your mind is where it ruminates first. Okay, that situation wasn't great, but actually, this is what I'm more focused on. This is the outcome that I want for my life. This is who I see myself become. This is where I want to be. This is how I need to feel. And I'm not going to say that I didn't do an extensive amount of reading. I think from the age of 18, I was so fortunate enough to be one of those early users of like Google. So I was Googling like holistic thinking and spirituality. I came across Dr. Sebi. Through Dr. Sebi, then it was onto YouTube. I came across, I call him a father, and I hope one day he realizes how important he was to me. But Les Brown was somebody that was hugely influential to me. He's a motivational speaker. He came from very dire circumstances. I related to the fact that he was fostered as well and was completely written off. And I think that's something, again, like Americans, you guys are way ahead in terms of like us in Britain. That's like, they call it woo-woo. Woo-woo, they're a bit off, you know, woo.
I have a lot of British friends in America here. A lot of Brits are here. You know that, yeah.
Yeah, no, I know that they are now, but I think even in the last 20 years, there was kind of like, if you think about British society, some of the things that I'm writing in my book, there's a lot of things that they'll be like, nah, I'm not buying that. Whereas I think Americans are a bit more like, talk to me about that. Like they're a bit more curious about self. And I'm not saying one size fits all. I'm just saying that when I was looking at my counterparts in terms of mindset, you know, it was Dr. Joe Dispenza, it was Les Brown, it is, you know, Joyce Myers, you know, because whether it's from the Christian aspect or the self-help and wellness aspect, you guys are at the forefront of that discovery and that self-help.
Now,
Yeah.
so it sounds like you learn to make decisions, and this is a very, very, very challenging area for the human condition, people in general, to make decisions. And also I wanted to ask you, where do you think you got your strength from? Like there's always that impulse of somewhere where the strength came in and took you. Now, God is a strength, I think. But in terms of, you just told me you've met all of these motivational speakers, which I know of them, and I have been on that path as well. But the decisions, like you have these quadrants, right? So, and you have experiences. You know, I want to talk about the Bell's palsy, all the different things
Yeah,
that
yeah, we get.
but the decisions, like it's a big thing for people. So maybe you can give some guidance here about that.
It's a great question. And I guess you're right. It's so underrated. Like, do I stay or do I go? You know, do I hold on? It's like lyrics from a song. Like, do I hang on? And for how long? You know, like, do I leave here or do I stay? You know, and I think it's the sliding doors of life. And I think, again, as a storyteller, but somebody who is absolutely a film buff and a film watches rom-coms and you know, crime dramas, and I love anything about the human condition and what makes people people. And I think my decisions have come from having to really think, look, there's no one coming to save you, there's no fallback plan. You grew up in the care system, my mum is still alive, I don't have a relationship with any aunties and uncles from either side, and all my cousins, they're all back home. So what are you going to do? That's it. It's like, look, it's on you, mate. And if you don't get it right, you are going to suffer. Or if you get it right, OMG, like this could change. This could be the moment that like changes every moment going forward. And those decisions haven't always been easy, because what I really came to understand, Anita, in my late 20s is I was really suffering with a fear of success, because it gone from a fear of failure, like, oh, what if I fail? What if people laugh? I didn't care about that anymore. It's like, oh, what if I am rich? No, 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 because then I'll get robbed. Obviously, they're going to find out where I live. They're going to take everything away. I'm going to be held at gunpoint. And then you suddenly start to make decisions that keep you comfortable. And comfortable is a dangerous place to be.
So you never know if they're the right decision, but
right.
Having that impulse of strength, listening to the inner voice, the intuitive voice that we so ignore, and until we really get up to that point in life where we say, hey, I'm going to listen to myself, or bring out that hidden voice. So your decisions sound like you had this sort of transformation that hit you early in life.
It did. I think, yeah, to get to the answer of what you're asking me, it's almost like I don't remember being a baby or a child, because from the age of 4 and 5, I was making decisions about, well, if I go home that way, because I used to walk myself to like kindergarten because my mom was just like too tired, right? So I'd be like 4 and 5 with my own little dolly, driving like you guys call it blocks, maybe like a 10-block walk up the road to go to kindergarten by myself. And I'd be like, right, if I go the front way, the bullies are going to get me. They might like beat me up. They might still. Through the park, there's probably going to be like lots of dogs and people walking, and somebody could snatch me. And like, if I go around the back, then again, it's safer, but it's kind of quieter. So I'll run from kindergarten till I get to my door. And I think it's like, when you're a child trying to make those decisions, your childhood has been like really snatched from you. So I've not really had to not make decisions. I've never been in a position where I've been like, I'm just a child, someone will just sort it out. Oh, mom, you're going to do it. I didn't have those moments. Like my children have those now. Oh, mum will sort it. Oh, there's always going to be food in the fridge. Oh, my trainers don't fit. Oh, mum will replace them. Oh, I lost my coat at school, mum. Oh, mum will replace it. I didn't have that. I had to think as an adult, as a child. And I think what that can either, like I keep saying, it can either do two things to you. It can make you burn out really early. And obviously that's how I got to the Bell's palsy. And we'll talk about that in more depth. Or you fly and you become somebody who becomes absolutely indefatigable and unstoppable.
So your childhood was hijacked, and you had to be the parent, so to speak, of yourself. You had to raise yourself. So self-parenting,
yes,
which a lot of kids cannot do that because they end up falling off the track, and a lot of time they go into things like chemical use and things of that nature, or on the wrong path. Not that they certainly can go in this right path, but there has to be, I think probably you got your strength maybe a little bit from your mom, because it sounds like even though the other kids may not have, there's always something that one kid can really see. And is so crucial in our development. Now I'm sure your inner child comes out. I'm sure, because you look like you laugh. You look like you have a sense of humor. Right. The inner child comes out. And
a lot. Yeah, I do.
Yeah. So go ahead. We are listening to Discover Joyous Love. I'm your host, Anita DeFrancesco. And today I have a very special guest for me. Joining me from London is Clare Anyiam-Osigwe.
Yes.
Got that right. It's a Nigerian name. It's a beautiful Nigerian name. But as long as we can pronounce it, learn to pronounce these names, because names are, a lot of names now are becoming more challenging to pronounce. Rather than shorten them, keep your name,
100%. 100%.
Is a married name, or is it
it is. So my dad's name is Aluka, which is short.
Okay.
Very quick, very short, but still African. And then my husband is Anyiam-Osigwe.
Anyiam-Osigwe. Okay. Yeah. So now let's get into some of those. We have like 20 minutes left. Some of those experiences. I know you talked about, the burning mouth syndrome. You had COVID, and you did have COVID, right?
I did. Looking back, I can see that I did. Yeah.
So all these diseases plagued you, along with the emotions and the life of, like, I'm an adult having to raise myself. I'm a kid having to raise myself. I have to be the adult my whole life. Oh, I hated that role, but I had that same role. But the thing is, I'm always laughing. So it makes up for the child lost.
Right.
But you seem to have all these different kind of health issues, one on top of the other, the Bell's palsy, and everything seemed like it was all, part of you developing, getting into more of the clarity of your life. So maybe you could want to talk about some of those things, or whatever you want to talk about.
Sure, I'd love to. So COVID hit 2020. I woke up on my daughter Lavender's first birthday to a church to come and see her confirmation, to her christening, and half of my face had fallen. I was really shocked. I didn't know what was going on, but I didn't have enough time. I woke up 9 o'clock, got to be at church at 10:30. The balloons are arriving, the cake, the guests, and everyone's like, "Claire, are you okay?" And I was like, "I am. I think it's a dental thing." And they were like, "Yeah, get that checked out." So I went to a private dentist to get a quick appointment, and they were like, "No, go straight to A&E. That is not, you're having some sort of a stroke." And I said to myself, "Do you know what, God? I get it. Like a year ago, I had gout in my knee. I didn't stop drinking. I didn't stop the traveling. I was completely ravished from giving birth, but I just done my film No Shade. It had a US release, UK release, European release, Brazilian release. It was just more successful than I could have imagined. And I didn't factor in adequate rest and time to actually be on maternity leave. So I kind of worked through it and took this baby everywhere with us and just got the job done, because we're self-employed, me and my husband. So if we don't work, we don't eat. We don't work for other people. We work for ourselves. So those opportunities, those are your blessings, right?
Right.
But within your blessings, you have to factor in the life quadrant. So it's almost like You get it? I'm giving that advice based on what I did wrong, right? I did not have a suitable home life. Like my home was still full of stuff that I'd hoarded from my old business. It wasn't really functional for a nice family environment to come home and like rest every night. So my physical, I didn't pick up going to the gym again. I was snacking. I wasn't sleeping when the baby sleeps, which is what you're advised to do. I'd be up all night working on pitches, business plans, itineraries, whatever. And then my mental life and spiritual life, I don't think my prayer life, and this is based on the church I was attending at the time, was very much like, the way I look at it now is like, it's like, very fear-based faith. Please God, I really need, please God, oh God, please don't let. It was very like I was predicting, and I was just like, God, if you just give me one more like week of this or another month of that, as opposed to, Heavenly Father, I am so grateful for the peace, the joy, the love. I trust you. I know everything is working out for me right now. In your heavenly name, amen. And really feel that, and really let that be what it is, right? I was very fear driven in that particular season of my life for the first time, actually. And that's because I think I became a mom, and suddenly it wasn't about me. Suddenly it was like, I need to provide for this human being. Like, I need to keep her alive. I need to keep her safe. And I don't have a blueprint for this. My mom failed at this. And even though she was strong, she let us go. Like, anything could have happened to us at any moment of the day. And to make sure that nothing happens to this beautiful human being, right, who really needs me. And so what happened is that I just worked. The hustle, like, instinct was on 1000. And I woke up with Bell's palsy on February the 1st, 2020. And I literally shut down. Like, my phone, I threw it. Like, my phone was snatched out of my hand in broad daylight a month before that. So I was already using a rubbish, like, little iPhone 5, like the oldest iPhone. And I switched it off. I just switched everything off for 30 days. I didn't check any social media. I didn't do anything. All I did was fed Lav. I started my morning at 6 a.m. in the gym next door to my house. I live next to a hotel. They have a steam room, sauna, jacuzzi. So I did steam, swim, sauna. I did weekly acupuncture. I was doing 8-hour meditation of like, you're in.
Yes.
Just sound baths, rain, with the undercurrent of psalms and prayers underneath that was subliminal. I would only go to acupuncture or to the gym. My husband became my carer. He was cooking for me, cleaning for me, making me baths, making me cups of teas. He was doing the night feeds with baby because she was still on the milk, but in the bottle. And I was taken care of for the first time properly in my life, but it took me to absolutely fall apart. So that was where me and my husband looked at each other and had some serious conversations like, babe, how? Like, why did it have to come to this? Right. And it was a guilt and it was a shame on both of our sides. He was like, I didn't know. You're so strong, Claire. I don't think I've ever seen you wiped out. I just thought you had an unimaginable amount of fuel, and I'm sorry, I need to be there for you.
So this was your time to receive the gift of healing from another human being. Yeah. Now, something you probably weren't used to because you had to raise yourself. You were the adult child.
Yes.
And that's where I'm reading clarity is a resurrection of the mind, body, and spirit in the spirit of Easter, the resurrection,
right?
A time of reflection, rebirth, and fresh beginnings. So it delivers the empowering road map for those seeking peace, purpose, and a deeper connection. So with that, one of the experiences where you had to actually just let your guard down and receive from this man in your life or whomever was very difficult for you.
Very difficult because I'm the caregiver, I'm the allergist, I'm the skin doctor. Comes to me with their problems. Before I qualified as an allergist, I was the agony aunt of our friendship groups. Everyone was in relationships. I was a late bloomer. I didn't really date until I was like 18, like whereas other friends were like dating whilst we was in school. You know, I lost my virginity late. So I was always the friend that was like the wise old friend, right?
Yeah.
So this Claire, and it's like, because I've never been a child, I'm an adult, an adult. And it's like, I was uncomfortable with being taken care of. I was uncomfortable
Yes.
with compliments. I was very much a tomboy. I remember very vividly a friend's mum was like, I remember I turned up in a dress because I've only really started wearing dresses in the last 10 years of my life. And I remember I turned up to a family function or something. She was like, oh my God, Claire, your body, like you're like really sexy. And I was like, what? She was like, because you always wear like oversized clothes. And I was like, yeah, you're
To
right.
hide the shame.
I was hiding. I'm always hiding. And it's like the Bell's palsy motherhood, it just forced me to really look at myself and just accept that you're beautiful, you're smart, you're strong, and you can be both. You don't have to be like beautiful and like really weak. That doesn't do it. That's not who you are. You can be beautiful, but you can be strong. You can be ultra feminine, but like want to kick the football. You know, you can.
Right.
You know, like,
so you've learned to integrate, and that's the thing: the male and the female body, mind, integrating the strength with the love, integrating the passive and the aggressive, you know, the anger and the tears. And you know, and it's part of anger is a male emotion, but we need it for conviction, for making a point in life, not to be displaced in any way on, you know, children or whatever, but these are coming together. So you've the clarity, the quadrants, that's what clarity is about, integrating the fullness of yourself. You're a wonderful example, you know, the way you've constructed and designed your life. And this book is going to bring some, you know, some answers for people that
huge.
Can get on a path.
Just get on it and get on it as soon as you can. Like, one of our, so we are, my husband is the founder of the British Urban Film Festival, and so we have a team of jurors. Anyway, one of our festival manager, a lovely young girl called Annie Apaco, she's got a copy of the book, and she said to me, you know, Claire, it helps me so much. Like, I find myself rereading it every day, because it's not like a linear book, like, oh, no, happened, okay, bye, throw it away. Like, I refer to it. I'm like, I check in with the book to make sure I'm in with my life. And I'm like, oh God, I'm sorry.
So the empowerment jumps out when they read. That's why they have to join this conversation in the book Clarity, because it's not like you're just reading it, it's jumping out at you. It's enveloping you.
Yes.
And that is like a good manual for someone to refer to, in a sense, you know.
100%. It's a guide. It's the guide that I didn't know I needed until I did, until I had to shut down, burn out, die, and be reborn. And add those in the rebirth, the boundaries, the self-care, the self-love, the unapologetic rest, moving house, the minimalism that I live with. You know, I just can't stand clutter. My mom and dad were huge hoarders. We lived quite frugally and poor, but we always seemed to have room for stuff, and that stuff sick. And I would always want to be out on the streets in nature as opposed to at home with stuff. And so you don't have to have a big house. Like, I've had a house with a garden, and when I met Emmanuel, he had a beautiful mansion, like with a huge, massive, stately garden. And then he moved into my studio flat with me, and then we moved into another house, and now we're in a beautiful apartment in central London. And so we've had the varieties of different homes, but what I find is home is where you feel like, yeah, I put my head on that pillow and the world goes away. You know, this home. My home is not like, oh, you know, I've got to get underneath that cover to find the t-shirt, or, you know, there's rotten fruit in the fridge. It's like, look after your home. Your home says a lot about your mindset. And it is almost like a huge hug. If you design your home to fit your purpose, your home and any environment you enter, so that could be your office or the gym. Like when I was going to the gym this year, the gym that I was at, it progressively got more and more filthy. And I was like, I'm going to stop my membership now. Because I'm like plasters on the floor from 2 weeks ago. Like people are starting to treat this place disrespectfully. And that's starting to disturb my workout because I'm hypersensitive now. Whereas a couple of years ago, I've been like, child, it's all right. Probably the cleaners, maybe they're having issues. I'd find an excuse and I'd overlook things that make me actually recoil and feel a bit uncomfortable. I'd be like, oh, they're trying their best. And I was like uber empathetic. And now I'm like, nah, I'm paying top dollar for this gym. And if they're not going to clean it, and if the staff are not going to greet me with a smile and say hello, I ain't coming here. I'll find somewhere else, right?
So you have your self-worth, integrity, and you elevate yourself in any moment that you can. And that is how we save ourselves. And we get to the success that whatever the success is for each individual. And so about continually elevating yourself and not, and taking a stance. And it is like coming back to the home of the body, of yourself, of your mind, your spirit, your emotions.
Yeah.
Thus entering other homes of, well, of course, where you reside and where you work out or wherever. But the most important from what I'm hearing and reading is that you're encouraging people to come back inside. Huh?
Yeah, absolutely. Because a lot of people are looking for the answer, the decision to be made available to them from someone else. And someone's always going to do what's in favor of themselves. So, Anita, what do you think I need? You're going to say, well, based on my limited knowledge of you and what I think is good and what I accept about the world and my upbringing, this is what I would recommend. And I'm like, well, that doesn't really work for me because you just know a sliver of my personality, of my needs, of my genuine desires and who you think I am. You need to ask yourself those deep questions. I need to ask myself those deep questions and actually make an allowance for the fact that those answers could change on a daily basis. They might even change on an hourly basis. Who doesn't go from going, oh, today's going to be a chicken salad kind of day with a fruit salad and a tall glass of water. And then you walk past a soda and you're like, well, I guess I could have a Diet Coke. 0 calories, right? It's not gonna hurt. It's hot outside. We do it all the time. We want it, and that's why the book is not called clarity. Right?
It's getting clear on your emotions and having them, acting on them, whatever it is, whether it's something that's, we hope that's always good or beneficial, but it could be something that isn't so good. And guess what? That's where you learn.
That's okay.
From the not so good, from the experience.
It's about the guilt of life and the fear of life. And if I stay or if I go, if I drink, if I eat, a lot of my allergies now, when I look back holistically on my 20s, they were actually caused by my emotional lack of clarity. This is the new integration. So I've opened up my clinic again and I'm going to be seeing clients. And this decade of work is about tying in the trauma, the emotional well-being, which I think clarity gives me, a path. I'm going to do some courses to back my theories up. That the emotional actually affects the way your gut breaks down your food. Right. Sometimes we're thinking, oh, it's the wheat. But who is eating the wheat? Because some people eat wheat and they are a size 6 and they don't bloat out. What is it about you? Is it just your genetics? Is it just your biochemistry? Or is it something about your emotional health?
So that's your next book.
Causing the inflammation. Exactly. It's about integrated health for me, the next books. I've got I'm going to write as often as I can for as long as I'm here, Anita, because thoughts on a lot of things that could help people. And I do truly feel that that is my divine purpose, is to help myself and help. Yeah.
So on that note, we're going to end the podcast. Anything, let's start with, where can people reach out to you? And I'll have all of this in the podcast once we get it up on Spotify. But you can tell people where they can reach you and get your book. Of course, your book is on Amazon.
Yes, it is. So on Amazon.
Is it an audiobook yet or not yet?
No, I was just saying to my copy editor, how do we sort that out? Because it's self-published. So
yeah, but you could do audio. I did audiobook on an audio. You just go to a studio, you do it. Okay. And then they edit it out. They edit it out chapter by chapter.
Okay, on Audible?
I don't know. There was someone here I used. I don't know if you could do it that way with them, like, or if you can find someone in your town. I went into their studio.
Oh, okay, cool.
You don't have to go in. I mean, I think you can do it over Zoom, or I don't know, but
yeah,
just find out. There's tons of studios. You'll find where to.
I will find a way. So you can go on Amazon to get the book. You can go on Abe Books, Goodreads. In a couple of weeks, it will be on Barnes and Nobles. It will be at Waterstone. You can go in and request it, and they will find it on Nielsen and get that order into your local store. You can also buy it directly through me. So I've got an app, and we print it, and it just means that I get a better profit cut than I do on all the other platforms. But if you go to buffbooks.shop, buffbooks.shop, then that's the name of my publishing company. And do you have a website? Or I do have a website that says buffbooks.shop. Okay. Yeah, and drclareao.com. So, all right. Join the conversation. We have been speaking on Discover Joyous Love here. I'm your host, Anita DeFrancesco. We have been speaking to Dr. Clare Anyiam-Osigwe, hailing here with us from London. Yes, right from, and we love her British accent. Oh, we always love the British accent. And she has been you have been such a wonderful guest. I'm so intrigued with your talents and your transformation and the way you put everything together and you combine it with health. I wish you the best in success. And for the audience, you can get the book on Amazon, check it out, Clarity, and listen to the podcast. Well, they are, if they're at this point, they've already listened. Anyhow, but I want to thank you, Clare. Okay, I'm going to end this right now.